Hello, my name is Mike Mueller, and this is my Google Earth tour for the Democratic Constitutional Republic of Honduras. Honduras is located in Central America, just to the south of Guatemala. It's got Nicaragua to the south, El Salvador right here to the west, the Atlantic and the Pacific. The capital of Honduras is Tegucigalpa. It's the largest, most populated city in the country with 25 embassies and 16 consulates. In 2011, over 7.5 million people were recorded in the census, with a life expectancy of over 73 years, and adults average 6.5 years of education. Per capita income is $4,600, and the biggest trade partner is with the United States. They support them with 50% of economic deals with Honduras. Exports from Honduras include coffee, bananas, shrimp, cigars, gold, fruit, and lumber. Honduras shares the Gulf of Fonseca with neighboring El Salvador, and this is where a war that I'll talk about later took place, the football wars. Honduras' first trades were in bananas. The north coast here, very fertile, highly suitable for growing bananas. In the early 1900s, United Fruit Company, Standard Fruit, and Steamship Company controlled much of this Atlantic coast. By 1929, United Fruit Company controlled 650,000 acres of farmland in these areas. During the 1920s, Honduras was considered a banana republic as the Vaquero Fruit Company, Cuyamil Fruit Company, and the United Fruit Company gained profits and power. The Vaquero Bros and Standard Fruit Company had purchased Roatan Island in 1899 to grow coconuts, oranges, and bananas, and they established offices in La Ceiba and Salado. The area of Trujillo in 1901 had a demand for English-speaking laborers, so they brought an influx of Garafunas from the West Indies to these coastal regions on the Atlantic, and the government granted them 7,000 hectares of land to work with. In 1963, Tegucigalpa experienced a coup by General Oswaldo Lopez, which ousted President Villeda. Lopez remained in power until 1970. March 4th, 1969 saw the El Salvador invade Honduras in the Gulf of Fonseca as a result of Oswaldo Arellano accusing Salvadoran immigrants of causing economic woes in Honduras. This resulted in a 100-hour war in the Gulf of Fonseca that became known as the Football War, and it coincided with the World Cup football qualifying round. 130,000 Salvadoran immigrants were expelled from Honduras as a result of this war. In the 80s, a man named John Negroponte was appointed as U.S. diplomat from 1981 to 85, and accordingly, the U.S. military and economic aid rose $250 million from $31 million to $282 million, while development aid fell from 80% to 66%, 0.6%. 1980 saw economic recession in Honduras, and they sought assistance from Washington up in this area here. And As a result, Washington used this opportunity to build up their military bases in Honduras, and they also used it as a base for the Contra guerrillas in preparation to overthrow the Sandinistas in neighboring Nicaragua. The late 20th century saw the U.S. training Honduran military units that targeted civilians and communist threats, and this was a CIA-backed campaign which included torture, murder, and kidnappings. In 2006, President Zelaya was elected, and 3 years later ousted in a coup with claims that he was planning to change the Constitution so that he could remain in office indefinitely. A falsified letter of resignation brought him out of office, and Porfirio Lobo became 54th president after the corrupt 2009 elections. Today, murders in Honduras are rising with an emphasis on targeting journalists, and civilians suffered continued abuses and human rights violations. Today, Honduras is considered one of the most violent countries in the world.